Alexander the Great, one of the most important humans in world history, a man who conquered the known world before he even found a job, a man whose military skill is so unmatched and great that even 3,000 years later, he's widely regarded as the second best military commander. In this video, we are not going to talk about Alexander the Great because, well, why the hell would we? You read the title. It doesn't say Alexander, and I don't clickbait. We are actually going to discuss Philip II of Macedon, Alexander's father. Also, this is apparently what he looked like. Chopped. Philip was born in Macedon in 382 BC. Macedon was not very liked by his neighbors, being seen as barbarians by the other Greeks. Macedon was ruled by the Argead dynasty, who claimed to be descendants of Hercules. The kingdom was ruled by Amyantas III. Amyantas III and his wife Eurydas had four kids: Alexander, Perdiccas, Euno, and our main protagonist Philip. After Amyantas' death from old age, his oldest son Alexander II became king. During the reign of his older brother, the 12-year-old Philip had to be sent as a hostage to the Illyrians in the north, who had terrorized the Macedonians in the past. Later in 369 BC, the city-state of Thebes had Philip, along with other Macedonian nobles, sent as hostage following their glorious victory at the Battle of Leuctra, which caused Thebes' hegemony over Greece. Philip lived in General Pamnendas' house, a friend of Epaminondas, the winner of Leuctra. There, he learned the art of war. Philip came back to Macedonia after a few years as a hostage. Now, his other brother Perdiccas III was king. The Illyrians under the 90-year-old King Bardillus invaded Upper Macedonia and King Perdiccas was slain in battle. Perdiccas had a son, but he was too young, and so Philip was made king. Philip now inherited a kingdom that was at a critical state. Illyria and the kingdom Pannonia were to attack Macedonia. He first had to execute some rivals to the throne before turning the Macedonian state into a superpower. He killed the rival Pausanias by bribing his backers and defeated the Athenian pretender in battle, his first victory. The Pannonian king died and his kingdom lay in turmoil, allowing Philip to gather an army and defeat them. The Macedonian army was in a poor state. The cavalry was good, but the infantry was mid. Philip first had to discipline his troops to be the toughest boys of the Greek world, but that wasn't enough to deal with his rivals, as equipment was still trash. He introduced a new weapon, the sarissa. The sarissa was an 18-foot long spear that allowed the Macedonians to stabby stab their opponents while having to make contact with the enemy. Now, it was obviously a heavy weapon, so Philip removed the heavy armor his soldiers wore in order to make it actually useful. Now, Philip turned his attention towards Illyria and invaded the kingdom with 10,000 men and 600 horses. Meanwhile, Bardillus had about the same amount of troops, although had 100 less horsemen. The two armies of basically the same size met at Aragon Valley. The two armies crashed into each other, with Philip's right flank consisting of bodyguards making first contact with the tribesmen. The battle raged on until Philip's cavalry outflanked the tribe and fell on their army in the rear. The battle was still a bloodbath, but eventually the Illyrian force withdrew. Bardillus would sue for peace, and Philip would gain a bunch of territory up and would also get a wife, Odada, Bardillus' daughter. Next, Philip formed an alliance with Epirus, marrying the king's daughter, Olympias. In 359 BC, Philip went to war against Amphipolis for apparently giving him many pretexts for war. Anyways, he managed to take the city using battering rams and proceeded to besiege and capture the city of Pydna afterwards. Philip had said that he would hand over Amphipolis to Athens, but he lied, so the Athenian assembly declared war on him. The kings of Illyria, Pannonia, and Thrace formed an alliance to give this young Macedonian upstart a thrashing. However, this alliance would fall apart as Macedonian general Parmenion managed to push them back. Meanwhile, both Philip and Athens attempted to gain the support of the Chalcidian League for the upcoming war. Philip managed to get the alliance first by promising the League two cities, one of them he hadn't acquired yet, Potidea. During the siege, Philip had to help the city of Crenades, who were attacked by Thracian tribes. Philip beat them off and renamed the city to Philippi. He went back to besiege the city of Potia and captured it, giving it to the Chalcidian League as promised. After he captured the city, he received three letters. The first one said of Parmenian's triumph over the Lyrians. The second one talked of his horse's victory in the Olympic Games. No one cares. The third one talked of Olympias giving birth to a boy, some nobody named Alexander. After that, Philip would march on Mephon, the last Athenian ally in Lower Macedonia, a few miles away from Pydna. Mephon resisted the Macedonians as it was hoping for relief from Athens. However, Athens was busy crushing rebellions from within, so couldn't help. During the siege, Philip lost his right eye. Eventually, Philip took the city after a month-long siege. Philip then went to besiege and capture the city of Pagasae, the port of Pheræ, which rivaled Larissa, Macedon's ally. After that, Philip invaded Thrace. He attacked cities and advanced towards Gallipoli. Then, Larissa asked Philip for help, as they were attacked by Pheræ. Philip decided to go help Larissa by sea, as that was the quickest way. He made it, narrowly avoiding an interception by the Athenian navy. Let us rewind back to this conflict. This conflict was a part of the Third Sacred War. It all revolved around the spiritually important city of Delphi. Delphi was protected by the Amphionic Council, a group of tribes that protected Delphi. The council put a fine on Phocis, a city-state near Delphi. Phocis did not want to pay the council, and so General Philomeles decided to occupy Delphi. Athens and Sparta decided to help Phocis because they wanted to weaken Thebes. Philomeles would defeat council forces before being eventually defeated and dying, either in battle or suicide. Phocis elected a new leader, Onomarchus. Onomarchus went to do some campaigning in Thessaly. This now connects back to Philip's story. Philip came for Pheræ, which caused Pheræ to ask Onomarchus for help. Onomarchus sent his brother with a force of 7,000, but he was defeated by Philip. Onomarchus arrived himself and managed to defeat Philip twice in battle. In one battle, Onomarchus took position in a crescent-shaped mountain and put catapults on the tips of the crescents. He set his forces to meet Philip's army, and Philip did the same. Before even making contact, Onomarchus's force turned and withdrew to the mountain slope, with Philip's force giving chase. As they reached the mountain, rocks began to rain down on Philip's tightly packed forces. Onomarchus's fleeing forces turned back and charged at the Macedonians as well. It was all over for Philip and the Macedonians. Philip's myth of invincibility shattered, along with his armies, and his neighbors, especially Athens, smelled blood. Would this young king's reckless actions cause him to join the annals of history as one of unchecked ambition and its consequences? Part 2, coming soon.